Hello, everyone. I am so sorry not to be there in person tonight. I love your organization and all that it stands for, and I'm proud to serve on your advisory council. First, thank you, all of you, not only for myself for the honor you've bestowed on me, but thank you on behalf of the 4,000 families represented by Interface associates around the world who every day are doing what I get to talk about, 3 of whom are there in my place tonight. They represent some 20,000 people of Interface, counting spouses and children and even grandchildren. I think you've just met my daughter, Marianne Linnea, and I know you know Diane Dillon Ridgely, an Interface board member whose work at WNSF brings both her and us great satisfaction. Joyce Laval has served both Interface and WNSF well. She's the one who sent the copy of Paul Hawkins' The Ecology of Commerce to me and started us down the path toward sustainability 16 years ago. I know Marianne mentioned that I'm dealing with cancer. I'm in my 30th week of chemotherapy. I'm tolerating it better than most, and so far the chemo seems to be working. But if my voice falters, you can blame it on the chemo. I would not miss this opportunity to thank many of you for your prayers and expressions of support, past, present, and future. Your cards and letters and emails literally make my day every day. As a 76-year-old great-grandfather, I presume I qualify as an elder, and as such can take some liberties in what I say under the heading Learned Wisdom. So the learned wisdom I want to leave with you tonight is in 3 parts. The first part is this: questions can have great power. It was a question from our customers that led Joyce to send that book in the summer of 1994, the book that led us at Interface to our sustainability mission. The question, what is your company doing for the environment? It was in seeking to answer this very tough-to-face question that we opened up the most amazing wellspring of innovation we've ever seen in our company. The quest for sustainability, as we define it for ourselves, zero environmental footprint, zero impact, has turned out to be so right and so smart, both in environmental terms and in pure business terms. For one thing, it has had a profound effect on organizational cohesiveness. A shared higher purpose will do that. Moreover, our costs are down, not up. Our products are the best they've ever been, and the goodwill of the marketplace is enormously gratifying. Truly, we have discovered that it really is possible to do well by doing good, and that this is a better business model. Secondly, in my 54 years of business experience, I've come to realize that creativity in an organization is unleashed by bold, visionary leadership that sets aspirations so high they take the breath away. I once talked to a NASA scientist during that period after the Apollo series of moonshots. He told me that NASA was floundering, beset with low morale. People who had put men on the moon were bailing out. When I asked him why, he made the most surprising statement. He said that President Kennedy's challenge to put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of the decade of the 60s turned out to be too easy. Kennedy's vision, as ambitious as it had seemed, was not ambitious enough. Having put men on the moon, NASA had nothing more to challenge them. I very much had that in mind when we launched our sustainability initiative at Interface in 1994. I challenged our company to go clear to the top of Mount Sustainability, the point at the top representing zero impact, zero footprint by the year 2020. Believe me, it is a very high mountain, higher than Everest. Today we call this initiative Mission Zero, and 16 years later we're more than 60% of the way to the summit, zero footprint, with 10 years to go. To give you just one example, total energy intensity for our global enterprise is down 43%. And with a shift in energy mix toward renewables, fossil fuel energy intensity is down 60%. Of our remaining total global energy usage, 30% is from renewable sources. adding verifiable offsets, such as using landfill methane to drive industrial processes, net total greenhouse gas emissions are down more than 94% in absolute tonnage. This, I submit, is the magnitude of reduction the entire global technosphere must realize by 2050 to avoid catastrophic climate disruption. The lesson here is in the example. It can be done. Remembering Kennedy and NASA, I also challenge the people of Interface to make our company a restorative company, doing good for the earth, not just no harm, and putting back more than we take. When they heard this, they responded with incredulity. They said, "That sounds like perpetual motion. How do you do that?" Notice another question. How do you do that? We talked about it and concluded that if we could develop a clear meaning of sustainability as a goal for Interface and could begin to move in a demonstrable, measurable, transparent, credible way toward that goal, we might influence others to move too. And that's how we could become restorative, through the power of influence. Not just what we ourselves did, but also what we influenced others, even our competitors, to do. As weird as it sounds, though Interface has a long way to go to the top of Mount Sustainability as we define it, zero footprint, that last 40%, I expect we're already restorative through influence. Impossible? Well, as Amory Lovins says, if something exists, it must be possible. Here's my punchline. If we, a billion-dollar global petro-intensive company, can do it, anybody can. If anybody can, it follows that everybody can. That means you can too. Thirdly, in the book I published last year with St. Martin's Press, Confessions of a Radical Industrialist, I talk a lot about what a sustainable society would look like, the view from the top of Mount Sustainability, as it were. I talk about the old flawed views of reality that got us into our environmental mess, and a new, more accurate view of reality that could get us out of that mess. It seems fitting to share one excerpt with you here today. The old flawed view of reality holds that technology, coupled with left-brain human intelligence, will see us through, without our having to address the extractive, abusive attributes of technology that are part of the problem, and without appreciating the right-brain attributes of intelligence that include the human spirit. A sustainable society will build on the ascendancy of women in business, the professions, government, and education. To me, this is one of the most encouraging of all trends, as women bring their right-brain nurturing nature to bear on the seemingly intractable challenges created by us left-brain dominant pragmatic men with our preoccupation with bottom lines and other practical considerations. After all, it's the practical and pragmatic that got us into this mess. Surely a different kind of thinking is needed to get us out. I think Dr. Einstein, an enlightened man, said something quite similar about levels of awareness, those that create our problems and higher levels needed to solve them. I want to end with a piece that may be familiar to many of you, but speaks to me every day of my life. I hope it will lift your level of awareness as it constantly does mine. In 1995, it answered another question for me. The question, is anyone else getting this? It also brought into focus for me the answer to who is most at risk here, frankly, unacceptable risk. Not you, not I. It was a Tuesday morning in March of 1996. I was talking to our people, as I did at every opportunity, this time in Southern California, trying to bring them along on this new journey, often not knowing whether I was connecting. But about 5 days later, back in Atlanta, I received an email from Glenn Thomas, one of my people in the California meeting. He was sending me an original poem that he had composed after our Tuesday morning together. When I read it, it was one of the most uplifting moments of my life because it told me, by golly, at least one person had really got it. Here's what Glenn wrote, and here's that person most at risk. Please meet tomorrow's child. Without a name and unseen face, and knowing not your time or place, tomorrow's child, though yet unborn, I met you first last Tuesday morning. A wise friend introduced us to, and through his sobering point of view, I saw a day that you would see, a day for you, but not for me. Knowing you has changed my thinking, for I never had an inkling that perhaps the things I do might someday somehow threaten you, tomorrow's child, my daughter, son. I'm afraid I've just begun to think of you and of your good, though always having known I should. Begin I will to weigh the cost of what I squander, what is lost if ever I forget that you will someday come to live here too. Every day of my life since, tomorrow's child has spoken to me with one simple but profound message which I presume to share with you. We are each and every one a part of the web of life, the continuum of humanity, sure, but in a larger sense, the web of life itself. And we have a choice to make during our brief visit to this beautiful blue and green living planet, to hurt it or to help it. For you, it's your call. Thank you.